So Ken Klippenstein broke a very scary story. This is in The Nation magazine. As unmarked feds snatch protesters off the streets in Portland, memo leaked to me shows they'll be deployed indefinitely and in undisclosed locations with drones on standby to assist as needed. Now, this was a fear from quite a while ago. As soon as we started using drones overseas, everybody said, well, hold on now. What's to stop the U.S. government from using drones domestically? What's to stop them? Are they going to draw some sort of arbitrary moral line in their own minds and say, well, we won't use it domestically, but overseas, of course we'll use it? We knew that at some point it would come here. Now, you know, I'm sure they'd argue, well, this isn't military-capable drones, but it's for spying effectively. But my response to that is, isn't that just as bad? We're all cool. Are we just supposed to accept that there are drones that may be spying on American citizens without a warrant? Are we just all supposed to go, oh, that's reasonable? That seems to me to be a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. Protection from unreasonable search and seizure. That's an unreasonable search if I've ever heard it. You know, it all started with the Patriot Act. Well, probably started before that as well, but the ignoring of our rights. And now we have a situation where you could have drones used domestically. We shouldn't even be using them overseas, but drones domestically. And who knows how long it will be until they are military capable. You know, if there's like some sort of high-speed car chase or something, you don't think that at some point in the future there might be an armed drone that launches a missile or two? I could easily see that happening because every other dystopian nightmare thing has come to fruition. So why would this one not come to fruition? Now, beyond that, guys, we really have unmarked federal agents in Portland abducting American citizens off the streets because they're protesting. Now, listen, as always, everybody who watches this show knows I'm not an advocate of violent protests or riots. I disagree with that on moral grounds and on ethical grounds and also on strategic grounds. So I would never defend, if there's a protest that gets violent, I'm not going to defend that and act like, hey, that's okay. But what we're talking about in this situation is unmarked federal agents kidnapping peaceful protesters. That's what all the reports are. Unmarked federal agents snatching protesters off the street in Portland. And it's been pretty thoroughly documented to this point. Now, we learned that indeed the federal agents, it was actually Border Patrol. So why is Border Patrol not at the border? What are they doing in Portland? Well, apparently this was a special task force that was created by the Department of Homeland Security in response to Trump's executive order, his executive order protecting statues and monuments, where he says, hey, you get 10 years in jail if you deface a monument in any way, shape, or form. Well, now we have a situation, where this is a real crisis of freedom of speech. See, this is what drives me crazy, and I'm sure it drives a lot of you guys crazy as well. But, guys, we could have the conversation about annoying college students, you know, on campus all the time, creating their safe spaces or blocking speakers or whatever. But this is a real threat to the First Amendment. When you have unmarked federal agents that are like a paramilitary, they look like a paramilitary, Trump's thugs, when they're abducting peaceful protesters, what do you think that is? That is nothing but a violation of the First Amendment and freedom of speech and free protest. And now you understand why Noam Chomsky was always so immensely concerned about this issue and why he was always at the forefront of it. Is because what he understands, which a lot of people who are short-sighted, what they don't see, is that restrictions on freedoms, it'll always be targeted against the left. You want to know why? Because the left actually threatens power centers. And when you're questioning orthodoxy and threatening power centers, they'll do everything they can to suppress you, to censor you, to stop you from doing that. And so now you have peaceful protesters being abducted in the streets by federal agents, the most wanton violation of the First Amendment and free speech and free protest I've ever seen in my life. And by the way, I hear none of the free speech warriors say anything on the proper side of this issue. If anything, they're bootlickers and they're defending the unmarked federal agents. The unmarked federal agents. It's amazing. This stuff is absolutely amazing. This is on the streets in the United States of America in 2020. It's happening day by day. We slip further and further into a nightmare. Whether it's the pandemic or the depression or the endless wars or the reality star president. And now we have unmarked federal agents snatching peaceful protesters off the streets in Portland. I'm not sure if they have. They may have, I'm not sure. But the ACLU definitely needs to get involved here because this is a true instance of a violation of the First Amendment. And I think the Portland mayor is stepping up or something. Like they're trying to fight back against the feds' overreach here. But it is as disturbing as it gets.